All right, so this trailer here started its life as a boat trailer. In one of my previous videos, I converted it into a utility trailer, and it's been great, but it's a little bit too light duty. This axle is only 3,000 pounds, and I haul this toy tractor around from time to time, and even though it's small, once you get the box blade on it and front bucket, it comes out to about 3,000 pounds. So this trailer just can't handle it. So I've got two new 3,500 pound axles, and I'm also going to add a 3-foot dovetail to it just to make loading easier. So first thing I got to do is take this old axle off, and then I want to flip the trailer over and somehow get it into this garage so I can do all the work on it, you know, without having to reach underneath and do everything lying on my back. So we'll see how that goes. That axle's off. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to flip this thing. This tractor can for sure lift it, but the issue is it doesn't lift it high enough to be able to rotate it up and over on the side. Anyways, if anyone has any better ideas for next time, let me know what I should have done different. That was a whole lot of messing around, but it's in here, it's upside down. Don't know how the hell I'm gonna turn it back over once the two axles are on, but I'll figure it out, and it'll be worth it to be able to work with this trailer upside down. Here's new trailer parts. I got these two axles, they're both 3,500 pounds, and one's got electric brakes, and they're brand new. I got them for 500 bucks, 550 bucks. Got a couple new tires and some fenders. So the reason why I got them so good is because the company who built them, I guess the customer canceled or whatever, so they just try to clear them out. They're usually about 1,800 bucks, but the problem is they're 4 inches too wide. So I am going to have to cut them. And I called the manufacturer and asked them the best way to do it. And they said, I can't cut them in the middle because there's a camber, so you'd ruin the camber. So I'm actually gonna have to cut them in two places. I'm gonna have to take out 2 inches on each side, and then I'll weld them together and sleeve them with a piece of pipe. So grind these old hangers off, cut them off. I already did the other side, they come off pretty good. I'm getting ready to tack down these hangers. I want the axles back as far as possible on this frame because I'm adding a dovetail, and they should probably go back actually a little bit further, but I don't want the axles attached to the new frame I'm making. I'd rather it be on this one large cross member here, not cross member, but frame member. So I've got measurements from the trailer manufacturer that tells me all the spacing. So I figure out basically where this front one needs to go, and then I measure off the center of the front tongue to set this first one on both sides, and then I'll work my way backwards to set the other two. So to set these hangers, there's definitely more professional ways to do this. I know some people make jigs that go all the way through all three to make sure they're perfectly aligned, but well, I'm just not gonna do that. So I'm gonna square them up with a speed square on the frame, and then just use a magnet to make sure that they are all three of them are spaced equally off the frame there. Those hangers are all tacked up. Hopefully they're in the right spot and somewhat straight. Next up, I gotta cut these axles down. and I'm definitely in uncharted territory here. I've never shortened an axle. Obviously I watched a few YouTube videos and people have done it a bunch of different ways, but anyway, this is cambered in the middle, and as you can see, so I can't cut it there because you'd probably lose the effect of the cambered axle. But if you come down closer to each side, there's no gap, so it's nice and straight. So I plan to take out 2 inches. No, I need 3 inches actually. 6 inches in total, so 3 inches from each side, kind of somewhere right in the middle. And I'm just using an angle grinder to cut it. So I'm gonna grab a piece of paper, wrap it around to try to make a nice straight line all the way around, make a mark, and then get to it. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, let's say if my cut's here, I'm gonna take this straight edge and kind of groove in a line going all the way across, so that when I go to piece this back together, I make sure these line up exactly the way, you know, in reference to everything else, it lines up nice and straight. And those angle irons are holding everything nice and square and tight. And I've lined up those score marks. Everything did line up. So I will now take both of these axles off and weld them all up properly. All right, so that's it. That's one of the axles completely done anyways. The sleeves are on, the plug welds are in. I think that's probably gonna be pretty strong. I'm happy with that. Now I gotta start building this dovetail, and I've gotta cut off a bunch of the stuff at the back to get at these frame rails to add the extensions on. So I'm gonna add on a 1.5 feet, nice and level with the trailer, and then a 2.5 foot dovetail. And I haven't figured out the angles yet. I'm gonna have to work that out to see how far away from the ground it's gonna be to make sure I'm not dragging anywhere. So I've just got this tacked in here. That's the way it's gonna look. It's gonna bring the dovetail to about 14 inches off the ground, so it's about as low as I'm gonna go. I borrowed a buddy's trailer with a dovetail one time and drop axles, and it would drag everywhere. You'd pretty much have to plan where you could drive. Anyway, I'm gonna add gusset plates here and there, probably across the top and underneath the so both of those are welded up. They're all square, parallel, and nice and level, at least to my concrete floor anyways. So I'll get going on the back piece, and then I'll start doing the gussets once everything's good to go, and I know I don't have to. Now, just grinding down all these joints. I'm gonna put in these gusset plates in here. These are 3/8, so they're pretty thick. They're going on, you know, both sides, and I'm pretty sure they'll hold nice and tight. Now these were cut right off. Normally you would make this all one piece and just cut out your triangle and bend it down, but I didn't have pieces long enough to do that. So this is all I had to work with, and with what I had lying around at home. Same with these plates. This is a pretty thick plate, but it's been sitting in the gravel forever and it's strange and corroded, but it's definitely strong enough to do the trick. Go up there and there, all the way around, and I'm quite confident she's going to be strong enough. She out of welding wire there, so I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow to get another one. In the meantime, I'm going to make these angle iron rails here to contain the decking on the dovetail. So I'm just going to make one vertical slice right about there, and then I'll bend everything down. I got my brand new roll of wire. Hopefully she'll last me another 4 years. Everything tacked up. I just got about 5 hours of welding to do now to actually weld everything in place. I've got gussets on all the joints on the inside and the outside. I mean, I think it should be plenty strong. I'm still kind of a bit concerned. I don't know. If you're a welder, you know, let me know if you think tacking on a cross member to the end here and putting it on with gussets is going to be strong enough. Like, I mean, there's never going to be any load riding on the back here. It's just to get up onto the trailer, but I don't know. Anyway, let me know. Let me know in the comments. I'm starting to get sick of this project here, so I'm not really turning on the camera that much. So this video is getting worse and worse as we go. I got this Fender fitted up, and I don't have much to say on it because I don't know. I just put some spacers on top of each wheel and lined up the teardrop there right in the middle the best I could, and I slid it. It just happened to work out with this old bracket, so I've just welded it to there, and then I'm gonna come up with you know, some braces in the middle because I'm getting near the final stages. I kind of stopped filming a lot of stuff because it's just taking so long. I remember this when I turned this boat trailer into a utility trailer. It's just never ending with the welding. There's always just one more seam to do, one more seam to do. I did a quick calculation, just the gusset plates, the 8 gusset plates, there on each side, and there on each side. That alone is 16 feet of welding. And for the little welder I have, it takes a while because it's got a certain duty cycle, right? That shuts down after, I don't know, roughly 2 minutes, and then you got to wait 10 minutes. So you can only go so fast. And that doesn't include all the other joints, like, you know, all those ones and everywhere else. All these cross members all have their own. It just takes forever. Anyway, I'm getting ready to paint it. I've hit everything with a flap disc just to get some grit into the surfaces so the paint's got something to stick to. Now I'm going to go around with some paint thinner, wipe down absolutely every surface I can. And what I'm using for paint is the same thing I used before. It's pretty expensive stuff, but I get a smoking deal on it. So it's this Durethane DTM. It can go right against the metal, and it is super strong, super hard. Is replaced. I still gotta buy a bunch of deck screws and put it down properly. I thought I was going to be able to use the offcuts from the 16-foot pieces I bought and use it for the tail, but I can't. So I got to go back to the store and buy a few more pieces and get that done. But looks really good, a lot better than that other rough cut hemlock I had on there. So I'll stain this up and she'll look really pretty. Now I've got to install this jack, probably right in the middle, somewhere like this. Not exactly sure how far this thing should hang down to make sure it never catches on a railway track or something, but I'll see what I can do. If anyone knows if there's a certain formula to mount these height-wise, let me know. Thanks. Since these are just regular old pressure treated deck boards, they've got the rounded chamfer here. So I've just got a similar bit. And for these middle pieces that I need to rip, I'll just put the chamfer back on so it matches up nicely. End this video here. I'm pretty much complete except for a few things. I gotta fill in those fenders, new coupler up at the front, finish the wiring and some paint work. But I've taken it for a drive. It pulls nice and straight, doesn't sway from one way or the other. So I'm pretty happy the way it turned out. It's got that look that I wanted, and hopefully it lasts for a while. So thanks for watching. If you can hit that like button, it helps out quite a bit.